Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria. I am your host, Daniel Atai. Welcome to Spectacle. I am Daniel Atai. And today we'll be looking at the statement by Mamman Daura saying that we should rather seek for competency other than regionalizing the presidential election come 2023. And the angle or opinion of an international human rights activist and a comrade of repute, Mr. Chief Philip Agbese. He said we should not vilify Mamman Daura's statement because he says so. And I have with me in the studio a personality of great pedigree who will do justice to this analysis. But I will introduce him to you immediately after this timeout. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. Like I said, we should not vilify Mamman Daura because of the statement credited to him saying that we should seek for competency in 2023 presidential election rather than anticipating for regionalism. And I have with me in the studio Comrade Kevin Odase Peters. Comrade Kevin Odase Peters is a PhD research scholar. He is a public issue analyst, a development and community leadership expert, and an advocate of middle class stroke working class involvement in political activism. Comrade Peter Odase, you are welcome to Spectacle.
Thank you very much for having me in Spectacle.
Thank you. So this is your first time on Spectacle, and Spectacle deals with social, political, an economic issue that is rocking the country and the world over. And today we expect that you give us your expertise in the topic on discussion.
Absolutely. I have an opinion, and my opinion is not just a personal opinion.
We'll come to that.
Yes.
We'll come to that shortly.
Thank you.
Now, before we go into that, we'll make sure that the lines are open for you. The lines are already displayed on the screen, and for you to make your contribution is about 2023 presidency, regionalism, zoning, or competency. Which one do we want? We know the problem of ethnic or tribal chauvinism that is happening in the country. We also know the issue of political or religious inclinations that have been rocking this country. And worst of it is that most political power brokers have forgotten about the creed, the Nigerian creed and the anthem. And from where we're giving you this story, you can check on the Nigerian news. All the stories that we are giving you, dishing you out now are there live, and you can read and drop your comment. Meanwhile, the phone numbers are displayed on your screen, and if you want to reach us, you can reach us live on 081-3701-5949 or 070-5432-7616. I repeat, 081-3701-5949 or 070-5432-7616. And if you want to hook us with our Zoom, the Zoom number and the ID are displayed on the screen for you to give in your contribution. And before Comrade will react, we will take a background reportage on the statement and the opinion of Chief Philip Agbese, an international human rights activist and an expert in law. Please enjoy the video. Groups into one nation. Mamman Daura has not excluded any zone from contesting the 2023 elections, as there are qualified and competent persons from all the regions in the country. What he is saying is that the best among the collection should be favored. Nigeria should accept this as the new world order. 2023, why Mamman Daura should not be vilified, and this statement is coming from no other person than an international human rights activist, patriot, the CEO of the Patriot and Sage and the Nigerian news group, Philip Agbese. In the year 2027, a group of northern leaders felt ashamed by the crop of leaders warming up to take over the mantle of leadership from the current set of leaders, that it realized it has to do something about the leadership selection process in the region. At the end of that summit, which held in Kaduna, many of the participants were of the view that the current process, which throws up clannish champions as national leaders, may not be the best, and that something must be done to create a system where competence would be the major criteria for leadership selection. 3 years later, elder statesman Mamman Daura has come out to hit the nail on the head about what has been at the base of poor leadership in Nigeria, and recommended that competence should be prioritized while zoning should be rested. But this noble idea has been outed down for no other reason than the fact what is considered an inappropriate quota to voice out such concerns. The North is always considered as conservative and reactionary, and not expected to advance progressive ideas. Hence, when Mamman Daura in Northern Elder made the suggestion, criticism that trade is coming had nothing to do with the merit of the idea, but the perceived undertone that it was meant to favor a particular region. But while castigating the message because of the messenger, many have failed to acknowledge some historical factors that support the Daura viewpoint. In both the First and Second Republics, when the theme of what was considered as the first 11 of Nigerian politicians featured, nobody said anything about zoning the prime minister or president's position to any part of the country. Though the dominant parties then had their bases in the respective zones of their party's leaders, they all went into elections believing that the electorate is mature enough to decide the best based on what the candidates present to them. The great Nnamdi Azikiwe, because of his eloquence, erudition, and the program of his party, won elections in the Southwest, devoid of any ethnic or religious consideration. In the era of the Second Republic, the MPP, which had Azikiwe as its presidential candidate, won the northern state of Plateau and almost won Benue in 1993 before the coming of the military, while the MPN, considered as made up of northern conservatives, won southern states like Rivers and Cross Rivers in the south. Of such political idealism was when in 1993, MKO Abiola defeated Bashir Tofa in his home state of Kano. These examples have shown that Nigeria had always preferred merit and competence over parochial consideration. Step forward to 2020, and elder statesman Mamman Daura, who has seen it all, makes recommendations that Nigeria should go back to its preferred pattern of the leadership selection process, where competence would be placed above geopolitical considerations and all hell was let loose. The question is, what is strange in the Mamman Daura suggestion to warrant such attacks and mispresentations when it had always been actually what Nigerians wanted? The Nigerian electoral body, which is now known as INEC, had over the years tried to de-emphasize regional, religious, or ethnic politics And that is why it had always made it mandatory that any party seeking to be registered to contest election in Nigeria must have functional offices in at least two-thirds of the states of the federation. Further than that, the electoral laws also provide that a candidate can only be declared the winner of a presidential election if he, in addition to winning the majority vote, also scores at least two-thirds of the votes in at least two-thirds of the states of the federation. Translated, this means that even the laws governing elections in the country have tried to de-emphasize regional considerations, as a candidate can only receive such nationwide acceptance based on merit. This is the point that Mamman Daura tried to make when he said the 2023 presidency should be about competence and not based on zoning, as the nation had tried going about zoning 3 times and it has not worked. When Chief Olusegun Obasanjo was president between 1999 and 2007, the zone that complained most about neglect was the Southwest. And when Yar'Adua succeeded him, the North did not fare better than in the previous administration. Till date, Jonathan is being accused of not doing anything or doing enough for the South-South. This shows that the idea of the rotational presidency does not even help the region the president hailed, but only puts pressure on the incumbent to look at his region. Even then, he had sworn an oath not to use his office to give undue favor to one side. The fact is, competence is the new order in the world in the leadership selection process. That was why America chose Barack Obama, and that was why Russia is almost stuck with Vladimir Putin as its leader, and that is why issues of where a political leader hails from hardly matter in most advanced countries. Naturally, people gravitate towards good leadership no matter where it comes from. The first US President, George Washington, was offered a 3rd term, but he declined, not minding whether he was from the North or the South. Rwanda, after the genocidal war, came back and repeatedly elected Paul Kagame, a true leader who has moved the nation forward despite being from what was considered a minority ethnic group. It is said that in Tanzania, the people don't even care where their president hails from, as he has been able to wield the nation of different ethnic groups into one nation. Mamman Daura has not excluded any zone from contesting the 2023 elections, as there are qualified and competent persons from all the regions in the country. What he is saying is that the best among the collection should be favored. Nigeria should accept this as the new world order. Yeah, welcome back, and that was Mamman Daura's statement that we gave you on the background from the opinion of Chief Philip Agbese, a cosmopolitan human rights activist. And with me in the studio, like I said, is Comrade Kevin Odase Peters, and he will be doing justice along with your take, your opinion, as the numbers are already displayed on the screen for you to contribute your quotas. Comrade Kevin, you may not have watched that background analysis very well, but I know as a research personality, a researcher, you can do justice to this topic. The statement about 2023, which is almost turned into ethno-regional or tribal sentiment or religious political inclination, a kind of. Do you think that Mamman Daura's statement was the right thing we were expecting as Nigerians at this moment? Right from the opinion of Chief Philip, he said yes. What is your opinion?
Thank you. It's very, 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 very important that we take issues on the perspective of the timing of the statement, the endogenous and exogenous factors of the political climate of the time. Just opposing it with a that has happened unconsciously in 1999 through PDP that has given some minority region the opportunity to govern this nation as president.
Yeah.
Now,
You're talking about the South-South. Right?
yes. Now, we have to take the narrative from two perspectives. One, what is competence? What is competence? The perspective of competence could be relative or subjective, depending on what we're looking at.
Okay.
But let's get certain things very, 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 very clear.
Okay.
Political engagements are for political parties and political participants. As the electorates or individuals vying for political positions.
Okay.
Nigeria, as a nation, I can tell you, has competent individuals in each of the geopolitical zones that will be able to anchor leadership based on specific cooperative, economic, social, and political advantages that Nigeria has as a nation.
Okay.
Therefore, when we go back to history and we're looking at the First and Second Republic and the Third Republic, and you look at it that at that time, the calibers of people from each of this region who find themselves in the political atmosphere of Nigeria, their competencies in every sphere cannot be doubted. Now, we fast forward to current reality.
Okay.
In each of the political parties over time since 1999 that has evolved and has produced candidates, the question will be, were the candidates the best candidates among the lots that vie for the tickets, be it at the local government, the state, at the legislature, and the executive arms? I will not want to name names, but as I speak, I want the viewer to flow with my thoughts.
All right.
And see the underpinning of the bane of our political leadership. Competency, when I say it's relative and when I say it's subjective, the viewer should understand that when you go to the southeast, you have more than a dozen of people who have been able to achieve great feats in different spheres of human endeavor. I will use society as a fundamental tool for comparison.
Okay.
If you go to the south, it is the same.
Okay.
If you go to the north central, it is the same. If you go to the northeast, is it the same? If you go to the northwest, is it the same? If you go to the southwest, is it the same?
So that means you have
So
competent
we have abundance
abundance
of competent personality at different fields.
and regions.
Yes, regionalizing it, yes, at different fields.
Okay.
The question now is, when Mamman Daura, as a respected leader and who is considered to be in the inner workings of Aso Rock, as it were,
Oh, as it is.
as it is,
Okay.
and with the kind of political climates we have, that is pregnant with a lot of permutations come out to make such a statement, we political analysts look at it as flying a kite to weigh public opinion, and as such, it is very, very critical for us to underpin such statements at a time when different groups are clamoring for the beauty of the exigency of the PDP in trying to rotate the presidency between the North and the South, that it will draw down to the state.
Okay, now let me come in here.
Yes.
When you say the North and the PDP had wanted power rotation, is it only the North and the South that we have as geopolitical regions in this?
Well, it was not captured in our constitution, but you know some things are not written.
So,
but based on, let me expatiate on this.
That exonerates Mamman Daura that we should not vilify him for going for competency rather than regions, because we have 6 geopolitical.
No.
We have 6 geopolitical.
We may not vilify him, okay, but we need to clarify issues here.
Okay.
We need to clarify issues here. Issue number 1 is, when you mean competence, we need to look at competency in its own perspective.
Okay.
This I've explained beyond a reasonable doubt that in the whole of the region, and even when you break it down, draw it to the North and the South, you have competent Nigerians of all walk of life who can man the position of political positions. I'm not even looking at it as a presidency alone. Okay. That is one.
No,
number 2, sorry please.
2023.
Yes, 2023 presidency.
Yes.
Then number 2, we need to look at the candidates that the political party sponsored via the primaries were the ones who finally became the holders of the ticket of the political parties the best. That is number 2. Number 3, you need to look at it that the ones that finally made it to Aso Rock were they the best. That is number 3. Then it brings us back to a very, 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 very important issue. In as much as I will not vilify the other statement for a statement, but this one has thrown a narrative that we need to engage so that we'll create a balance.
Right.
And how do I mean? We'll promote competency of candidates via political parties on one hand.
Okay.
And we'll also promote rotation on the other hand.
Okay.
So that by the time we marry the two side by side, it brings a new evolution that though there's a unity in the rotation of the positions, as it were, because we must not take away the peculiarity of Nigeria as a nation. And we should not take away the prevalence of a lot of cry of marginalization that has taken place. When the chief, respected as he is, Agbese, spoke about Rwanda. In Rwanda, we know about the Tutsu and the Tutsu.
And the Hutu.
And Hutu. When you look at them, we are dealing with at least 2 major ethnic groups, as it were. We look at their population. But we look at Nigeria. After the Civil War, the color is a more complex case in our hands. When you look at the developed nation and use them as a comparative analysis in this discourse, it doesn't follow. Because if you bring Obama into the picture, how many years did it take for Obama, a black American, to become a president? And how many years will it now take? And as it were, with an incident of get your knee off my neck, it becomes imperative that even that 8-year presidency of Obama has not been able to inoculate the challenges of racism that is prevalent in America. There in Nigeria may not be racism, but there's a lot of cry of marginalization. Let me tell you one thing. The reason why democracy has been sustained this far is because of the wisdom of PDP in trying to create two major blocks, the North and the South. However, to even make it better would have been to create a more robust rotation around the geopolitical zones, not only looking at the zones as two blocks, North and South, but to now expunge it completely and use competency
to Southwest,
yes,
Northwest,
yes,
South,
yes,
South,
yes,
Southeast,
yes,
North Central, and Northeast.
Yes,
the 6 geopolitical zones.
It should rotate that way.
Now,
to now completely nullify it and now bring issue of competence as a facade is something that we need to tread carefully, because there's no region of this country is in short of competent individuals that can mind this country and take us and contribute their quotas and take us to a position that will make us enviable
like
in the Committee of Nations.
Okay, we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue on the factor of population as it matters in democracy. And our viewers, like I said, the lines have been open for you to contribute, and I will go on concurrently with your call. But however, let's take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we'll continue the program. All right, welcome back, and we are still discussing the 2023 presidential election. Those still far away, but in the calendar of politics is, I think we have less than 30 months or 32 months. 35. No, 32 months, because by April, presidential election would have taken place. So we know that politicians are already campaigning on the ground, consulting which zone should produce the next president of Nigeria. And the statement credited to prestigious Mamman Daura, saying that the issue of competency is preferably better than zoning the presidential seat. And of course, Chief Agbesi aligned with him with his opinion that yes, in advanced countries, people go for competency rather than ethno-tribal chauvinism. So what is your take? The lines are open. You can give us the calls, and I repeat the number again: 08137015949. I repeat, 08137015949. We have less than a quarter of an hour to go. And I have with me still Comrade Peter Odase, who is a public issues analyst and a PhD research developer. Mr. Peter, you, before we went on that break, I was going to say the factor of population, if the issue of region is rested, or zoning, let me say zoning, not region, the issue of zoning is rested, the factor of population, will there be any other region that will have their population strength like that of the northern Nigeria with 19 states?
Well, population is a factor in politics. Then we look at also the spread, constitutional spread.
Yes.
To winning an election.
Yeah, he mentioned it.
Yes,
too.
we need to look at it. But I can tell you categorically that the structure that we are operating under electoral law, the structure we are operating under our understanding of politics, as it were in Nigeria, it has shown clearly that people vote mostly on the basis of where they come from.
Okay.
The only exception to that has been the case of Abiola.
Okay. Who even
Yes.
chose Muslim ticket, and there was no factor of religiosity during the time.
Yes, but again, we need to ask that basic question. At the end of the day, did that election stand? Did that election stand?
No, of course.
It's a question that we need to ask.
Okay.
Until you interrogate that question, you will not see that there are so many underpinnings that we may not know. But you see, we shouldn't operate on a system that is not open. It should be transparent.
What I'm saying is
yes,
the factor of population.
The factor of population is key in politics.
Okay, we should, if the zoning system is skewed, will there be any other region that could produce the presidential, the president in the country?
The best option, as it were, because of the population inequality, the best option, as it were, you see, people develop. Politics also will develop over time. But at every point in time, you seek a system that unifies the people.
All right.
You seek a system that makes the people contribute their best to the country that they are part of.
Right.
And so far, the system that has given us some measure of political stability, it is the zoning system. Because of the inequality, the balance of the population strength.
Okay.
Now, I would ask a simple question. Should we now say it is competence? Then, you bring a competent man from the northwest. You bring a competent man from the northeast. You bring a competent man from the north central. In line with political parties that they have chosen. You bring a competent man from the south-south. You bring a competent man from the southwest. You bring a competent man from the southeast. You go into political engagement with the incidences of political apathy, with the incidences of political godfatherism, with the incidences of not giving the younger generation the opportunity to vie for political positions were the incidences of over-usage of money in vote buying. How are you going to get a result that will represent competence over zoning? How? Because over time, these parameters, these variables have been set to disenfranchise some strata from political participation in Nigeria. And we are thinking that at the rate we are going, there will be an evolution that will expand the hope of participation and winning. But for another statement to now want to close that window of opportunity that we are thinking should be expanded is something that all Nigerians of good conscience should stand and look at it. It is something that the political parties, at a time we are fighting that some of these things should have constitutional backing.
Okay.
And we are hearing this kind of a thing, is completely disheartening for people like me. I may be looking at it from my position, but before coming to this studio, it is the opinion of majority of Nigerians that instead of contracting that opportunity of zoning, it should be expanded to go through geopolitical zones.
The 6 geopolitical zones.
Yes.
That's your
remember that even the distribution of wealth, the distribution of economy, the distribution of social, from the analysis of Chief Agbese, contradict itself that it doesn't mean that if you are from the north gets more benefit.
It's true.
You understand?
Because people at he made mention that when Jonathan was on power, the people of the South
were complaining.
They criticized him.
You understand?
That he did nothing for them.
You understand? So it is not even an issue. You understand? But
what he's trying to bring out is that despite the fact that people are clamoring for presidential seats to be rotated to their region, doesn't signify that development will come to their region.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
That if a competent president is on seat from your region, then there will be development all over the country. So that we should go back to the to the previous era where competency was the
we need to look at that era. That era we're operating a parliamentary system of government, right? Okay. And in a parliamentary system, the workings of a parliamentary system are essentially different from a presidential system of government. We need to put that aside. Okay?
Okay, how do we put it aside? Because
now, we need to put it aside also at the evolution of political awareness at that time.
Okay.
We need to put it aside because during this time, we must all agree that there's one unifying interest, unifying motivation in the minds of our patriots, that is taking power from the colonial masters and using it to develop Nigeria.
Okay.
But now, the question is,
how developed is the
how patriotic are leaders, as it were, that has had opportunity to be in political positions? And that is why I keep saying, except you are not saying that there's no competent human being in each of the regions that can man the position of the presidency. One. And except you are not telling me categorically that the persons we have so far are not the creations of political parties or godfathers.
And I'm talking about godfathers.
Yes, except you tell me that.
I have a documentary on godfatherism and mentorship. I don't know whether they have aired it. That issue, does it also, affect, or could it be a factor also in what is at play for 2023? The Southwest are looking for the presidential seat. The Southeast say it is their turn. The North Central too say they have not tested the power. And so, is it an issue of who knows who to put you there?
Now the question now, you just buttress my point of this agitation.
Yes.
This agitation, instead of contracting the political opportunity to the personalities from the political parties within the region, you expand it.
Okay.
Because of some of these agitations.
Okay.
However, that is the caveat. However, the political parties, number one, must, in tandem with the Electoral Commission, raise the bar in what should be the prerequisite qualification for people that will man the seat of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Okay.
Number one.
There is constitutional already.
It's constitutional, but they should raise the bar.
Okay.
The bar, as far as I'm concerned, already can breed incompetence. Okay. The requirement can breed incompetence. If people who get into private offices at level 8 or public offices at level 8 has to have a minimum of a first degree.
Or HND equivalent.
Yes, or HND equivalent. Or people who take up positions of managers have to have years of experience, requisite experience with competencies. Then what we have as a prerequisite requirement for who to vie as a president of this country already is trying to breed incompetence. One. And two, when INEC raises that bar, it becomes incumbent on political parties, in tandem with the level playing field that the rule of INEC will presuppose. Example, finding a solution to the issue of thuggery, finding a solution to the issue of money bags in politics or use of money in politics, finding a solution to the issues of judiciary, because we have a lot of judicial interference in our political exigencies, whereby overnight the decisions of the people are upturned. So these are issues. I expect that at this level, we should be pricking our minds, looking for an attitudinal change reform that will now put our electoral system in a pedestal of transparency.
Transparency.
You understand? Where our vote will count, then we may not be looking at jettisoning the issue of zoning. Right. But as it were,
as it is,
okay, it is completely very, very disheartening for people, a progressive mind like me, to think that such is coming from somebody